Mansa Musa, also known as Musa Keita, was one of the most extraordinary rulers the world has ever known. He was the emperor of the Mali Empire in West Africa during the 14th century and is widely remembered as the richest person in recorded history. However, Mansa Musa was far more than a man of gold. He was a visionary leader, a devoted Muslim, a patron of learning, and a builder of cities whose influence shaped Africa and the Islamic world for centuries. At a time when Europe was struggling through the Middle Ages, Mali under Mansa Musa was a center of wealth, education, culture, and global trade. His famous pilgrimage to Mecca shocked the world with its display of unimaginable riches and permanently placed Africa on medieval world maps. This is the full life story of Mansa Musa, his origins, rise to power, reign, pilgrimage, achievements, and lasting legacy. Early life and background. Mansa Musa was born around 1280 CE into the royal Keita dynasty, the ruling family of the Mali Empire. The Keita lineage traced its roots to Sundiata Keita, the legendary founder of Mali, who united the Mandinka people and defeated the Sasso king at the Battle of Karina in 1235. The title, Mansa, means emperor or king of kings. Musa was born a prince, likely named Musa Keita, and grew up in a royal environment where leadership, governance, and Islamic learning were emphasized. During this period, Islam was spreading rapidly across West Africa through trade routes connecting Mali to North Africa and the Middle East. Musa was raised as a Muslim, receiving education in the Quran, Islamic law, administration, diplomacy. This education would later shape his rule and vision for Mali. How Mansa Musa became emperor. Mansa Musa did not originally expect to become emperor. According to historical accounts, the reigning emperor before him, Mansa Muhammad ibn, decided to explore the Atlantic Ocean. Fascinated by the idea of discovering what lay beyond the sea, the emperor launched an enormous naval expedition. Before leaving, Mansa Muhammad appointed Musa as regent, meaning he would rule temporarily. The expedition never returned, and Mansa Muhammad was presumed dead. As a result, Musa officially became emperor around 1312 CE. This unusual rise to power marked the beginning of one of the most prosperous reigns in African history, the Mali Empire under Mansa Musa at its height. The Mali Empire was one of the largest states in the world. It covered parts of present-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Niger. The empire controlled critical trans-Saharan trade routes, which allowed it to dominate the trade of gold, salt, ivory, copper. Mali was especially famous for its gold mines, which produced nearly half of the world's gold supply at the time. This wealth flowed directly into the emperor's treasury. Mansa Musa ruled with a strong central government, appointing governors, judges, and military commanders to maintain order across the vast empire. Mansa Musa's wealth is difficult to measure in modern terms, but historians estimate his net worth at over $400 billion USD, adjusted for inflation, making him richer than figures like Augustus Caesar, Genghis Khan, Akbar, the great modern billionaires. His wealth came from gold production, trade, taxes, tributes from conquered territories, control of key trade cities. Gold was so abundant in Mali that it was often used casually in royal courts. However, Musa understood the responsibility that came with such wealth and used it strategically. The famous pilgrimage to Mecca, Hajj, a journey that shocked the world in 1324 CE, Mansa Musa embarked on a pilgrimage to Mecca, fulfilling one of the 5 pillars of Islam. This journey would become one of the most famous events in world history. 60,000 people, 12,000 slaves, each carrying gold bars, 80 camels, each carrying up to 300 pounds of gold. Soldiers, officials, scholars, and musicians. The caravan traveled through Mali, Sahara Desert, Egypt, Arabia. Mansa Musa in Cairo. When Mansa Musa arrived in Cairo, he distributed gold so generously that he caused economic inflation. Gold lost value for over a decade in Egypt because of the sudden abundance. The poor scholars, merchants, religious institutions. This single act demonstrated both his wealth and generosity, but also showed how powerful Mali had become. Diplomacy and global recognition. During his journey, Mansa Musa met the Mamluk Sultan of Egypt. Islamic scholars, traders from Europe and Asia. News of the African emperor spread rapidly. European cartographers soon began depicting Mansa Musa on maps, famously shown holding a gold nugget on the Catalan Atlas of 1375. For the first time, West Africa was recognized as a global power. Promotion of Islam and education. Mansa Musa was deeply religious and saw Islam as a unifying force for his empire. Islamic scholars, architects, teachers. Timbuktu, center of knowledge under Mansa Musa, Timbuktu became one of the greatest centers of learning in the world. Sankore University, madrasas, Islamic schools, libraries holding thousands of manuscripts. Theology, astronomy, mathematics, medicine, law at its peak. Timbuktu rivaled Cairo and Baghdad as an intellectual capital. Architectural achievements. Mansa Musa invested heavily in architecture, blending African and Islamic styles. Famous constructions: Jingreber Mosque, Timbuktu, palaces and administrative buildings, mosques in Gao and other cities. He employed Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, an Andalusian architect, paying him enormous sums in gold. These buildings still influence West African architecture today. Justice, governance, and military power. Mansa Musa ruled with a strong sense of justice. Islamic law, Sharia, was used alongside traditional African customs. He ensured safe trade routes, fair taxation, protection for merchants and travelers. His military was well organized and disciplined, allowing Mali to expand and defend its borders without excessive brutality. Later years and death. Mansa Musa ruled for approximately 25 years, from 1312 to 1337 CE. In his later years, he focused on strengthening institutions, educating future leaders, ensuring stability. He died peacefully around 1337 CE. His successors continued his legacy, but none matched his influence or wealth. Legacy of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa's legacy is immense and enduring. Why he still matters: proved Africa was a center of wealth and civilization, connected Africa to the global Islamic world, built institutions of learning that lasted centuries, changed global perceptions of African power. He is remembered as the richest man in history, a patron of education, a visionary ruler, a symbol of African greatness. Conclusion: Mansa Musa was not just a king of gold. He was a king of ideas, faith, and progress. His reign represented a golden age for West Africa, one that reshaped global history and challenged stereotypes about Africa's past. Even today, his story reminds the world that greatness is not measured only by wealth, but by how that wealth is used to uplift people, knowledge, and civilization.